I've been using Google Fi, formerly known as Project Fi, as my cell phone service for the past 3 years. I've seen it go from a very limited cell phone service to something that's super powerful and a super interesting alternative to the traditional carriers like Verizon and T-Mobile. One of the main things about Project Fi is that it's super powerful for someone who travels abroad, even only if you travel abroad a little bit. The main reason being that you pay the same price for data in other countries as you do in the US. Project Fi has also gotten some interesting new features in the past few years, including an unlimited data cap and support for iPhones, although that's not fully fleshed out right now to my understanding, so it's probably still best to stick with an Android phone on the service. Up until this week, Google Fi only had one plan option, which they're now calling the flexible plan. The flexible plan worked like this. Every month you would pay $20 and that would get you unlimited calls and texts. Then you would pay $10 per gigabyte of data used. So if you used 1 gigabyte, your total price for the month would be 20 plus 10, which is $30 plus taxes. And what was really interesting about that, it would also charge you fractionally. So if you only use 5 gigabytes of data for the month, it would charge you $5 on top of the 20. If you used 1.5 gigabytes, it would charge you $15 on top of the 20. Now the flexible plan would charge you for the first 6 gigabytes. So it could charge you $60 on top of the $20 for a total of $80. But beyond that, it would stop charging you anymore. I believe the flexible plan capped out at 15 gigabytes of high-speed data, and then it would throttle you to lower speeds, but it wouldn't charge you more than $80 a month for a single user plan. But as of this week, Google Fi has introduced the unlimited plan, which is $70 a month for one person all in. That means you get unlimited calls, texts, and data for $70 a month. So I wanted to take a look at these two plans to see if it really made sense for somebody like me to switch to the unlimited plan, or if it made sense to stay with the flexible plan and continue just paying for the amount of data that I would typically use. Now on the old flexible plan, it was really compelling because you would pay the same data rate abroad as you would in the US. I'm a pretty light data user. I download most of my big files on Wi-Fi, and then I only use the mobile network when I need to look something up when I'm out or go on the internet when I'm out. And it was kind of the same deal when I was traveling, the only exception being that I would use more data when I was traveling just because I'm going on Google Maps more, I'm looking things up more, spending more time on the mobile internet in general. So my data rate would cost more when I was traveling, but I typically wouldn't bring it up to the cap of $80. My cell phone plan, I think the maximum month I spent, it was something like $65 a month. Other than that, I'm typically only spending around $25 to $35 a month for around a half gigabyte to 1 gigabyte of data. But what's interesting about the unlimited plan is that I can use up to 22 gigabytes at a high speed before it starts throttling me versus the 15 gigabytes in the flexible plan. So the flexible plan would charge me up to $80 a month, and I could get up to 15 gigabytes of high-speed data. On the unlimited plan, it would be $70 a month, and I could get up to 22 gigabytes of high-speed data. The other thing that the unlimited plan has is, in addition to free data while you're traveling, because it's no longer doing this metered data thing, is that it has free calls to 50 countries and territories. And looking at the different countries you can call, it's pretty generous. I can call places like China and Hong Kong that I would be calling frequently. It looks like most of the European countries are covered here. Lots of countries in Asia. It looks like we've got Mexico. So it's a pretty compelling list of countries that you can call. But keep in mind, this is only calls from the US. When you're abroad, you're still going to have to pay the 20 cents per minute that you would pay if you were on the flexible plan. So there's no difference calling from an international country to one of these countries when you're abroad. It's only when you're in the US and you're calling abroad. So for me, that's not super compelling because Personally, I use Skype and email a lot to contact people in other countries, and it's very rare that I make a call between those two countries. But if I was doing more of those international calls, this would be certainly a better deal because those international calls can add up pretty quickly. The other thing that the unlimited plan has is a Google One membership, which is, to my understanding, this is basically Google's rebrand of Google Drive, or a Dropbox competitor, where you get 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. Now, I'm not sure that that's a super good deal, because if you go on the Google One website, it's actually not super expensive to get 100 gigabytes a month. I'm looking right now, and to get 100 gigabytes, it's only $199 a month on Google One. So really, I wouldn't look directly at the unlimited plan just for the Google One membership. Really, it's something that you'd only pay $199 a month for, or $19.99 a year if you decide to prepay and go all in. So for me, does it make sense to switch to the new Project Fi or Google Fi unlimited plan, or stick with the old flexible plan? I tend to use around a half gigabyte to 2 gigabytes per month. So my total monthly bill would come around $25 to $40, whereas the unlimited plan is $70 a month no matter what. So it definitely wouldn't make sense for me at home. And I'm really not making that many calls to other countries, so it doesn't make sense for me to upgrade in that sense either. If I was going to start making calls to other countries a lot, then I would consider the $70 a month plan, because those international calls, you start talking for a few hours, it adds up pretty quick. Then you might consider paying for the $70 a month and not worrying about it. But for me, I really like that Project Fi or Google Fi only charges me when I use a little bit of data. They only charge me a little bit. And when I use a lot of data, they cap it at $80 a month. So it's really not that much of a loss over the unlimited plan to just stick with the flexible plan, unless you're someone who uses a lot of data. If you're someone who uses a lot of data, or you make a lot of international calls, consider the unlimited plan. Otherwise, I would stick with a flexible plan. And the Google One membership, it's $199 a month. So it would probably be cheaper for most people to stick with the flexible plan and then add the Google One membership for 100 gigabytes. This video was in no way sponsored by Google, but I do have a referral link. What the referral link gets you is $20 off service when you sign up using my link. And in return, I get $20 off of my service. So if you're interested in signing up for Google Fi, I encourage you to use my code because you'll get $20 off. I've got a link to the code in the description. Thank you so much and have a great day.